Listen, laugh, and learn with Sacha and Ish as they share their experiences, thoughts, and tips to build skills that are not so average and a career that's not so ordinary. This is the Not So Breakfast Show.
All right, welcome to the Not So Breakfast Show today, the podcast for leadership and career development. And today we are talking about a new game that has come to the market, a game that is going to change the way you think about your career, the way you think about money. And we're going to be unpacking the gameplay and also talking to the creators of the game and looking at their entrepreneurial journey, because I've seen this go from concept to creation. I'm interested to see what that journey was like. And pick their brains when it comes to all of that stuff. But to help me with the picking of the brains and to help me with the podcast every single week, what's going down in Sacha Town?
Well, I am very excited to hear about this because I love games and I particularly love board games. And mainly what I love is winning. Winning is my favorite thing to do. So the fact that we are talking to the game creators is going to be super helpful because I want the inside scoop on how to win at this game. I've just come off the tennis court where I have lost tennis. So I'm looking forward to winning something now.
Well, I think this game is right in your genre because this is that smarts, it's business, it's strategy, it's money, it's finances, it's a whole lot of things. So really interested in that. And I might even ask them how you cheat because that's my gameplay, Sash.
Shortcuts.
Shortcuts. Why do it the long way? So we'll get the inside gossip. I've got some information on both Craig and Debbie, the team from HACKT, which is the name of the game. Craig, I know that you are a consultant, an identity management consultant and director of Trent Consulting Limited. You help a number of companies navigate the complex world of identity and access management. You work with banks, you work with a lot of kind of high profile companies to be able to do that kind of stuff, which is really interesting. And Debbie, you're an investor, you're an entrepreneur, and you are the chair of the Life Care Trust with Windsor Park, which is a trust that basically helps build social enterprises that generates money and gives back to the community in a number of different ways. So we're really stoked to have two such high caliber business people that not only have developed a product, but I think actually walk the talk in behind this product. And I've had the fortunate position of seeing it come all the way from its original conception. We were in the batch one day playing it on bits of paper all laid out. So really interested to see how you got through that. But welcome to the show, Debbie and Craig.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Yep, thanks, mate. Good introduction. Well done.
Yes, nailed it. Cool. Hey, so want to explain maybe what HACKT is and kind of give us a bit of an overview?
Yeah, HACKT is a fun game about life. It's about the environment, about happiness, about community, and of course, about making mountains of money. So we designed the game just to really help young people understand the world that we find ourselves in today.
Yeah, well, I think when we were originally playing the game back in the day, it was pitching somewhere between like Monopoly and the game of life, right? It was taking a couple of different concepts and maybe merging it together, but actually teaching real life principles, not just how to earn some money or buy some hypothetical property. And this is a lot to do with your background, really. You're an investor, and you guys have done very well in property. So is that where a lot of the idea for the game has come from?
I think so. I think, Monopoly can be a bit painful going on for days, and it doesn't really teach people what they need to know. And through testing, I guess we've found a lot of people that have some very kind of interesting ideas, and you see, my goodness, that just comes back from Monopoly. So we wanted a game that did really teach real life stuff and could really help and have a huge impact in young people's lives.
Yeah, and I think what I'll add to that is, in the game of life, they pay you to have kids, and for anyone out there who's got kids, that ain't how it rolls, right? We know actually how it rolls. And so it was just really updating that, watching our kids play those games and going, there's got to be something that's more attuned these days to real life. But you're right, Ish, in our property investing journey, we've learnt some of the value of investing early on and putting your money to work and what that enables you. And that was just something that we wanted to bring out and help enable the next generation.
Because it really is a game about financial literacy at the end of the day. It's actually teaching you principles that you might actually then reflect and go, that's interesting. If I invest in this way in the game, it actually has a positive outcome, or if I do it this way, that could have a negative effect. So you can kind of learn that. And I guess with kids now, when they're playing games, if we can educate them about that stuff early on, it can just make such a massive difference to the way they may view potential, what they even do with their pocket money, possibly.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's just so empowering for the younger generation. So if they can actually understand something around capital gain, that properties do actually rise in value over time, and they can understand pathways to home ownership. Maybe they're going to need to get a side hustle or something like that. So if they have that understanding early on, it's just so empowering and just helps them so much. I've got a quote here from a girl called Kayla, who's 11, and she says, HACKT makes me feel like I can accomplish more things when I'm older because I know what to do.
Oh, that's cool. I know Sasha's done very well in business, and I can imagine if she had this game when she was little, not only would she be the most annoying girl in the classroom, but she could have actually taken over the world by now.
Possibly.
You say nice things, but of course, I mean, you guys will know the origins of Monopoly was that it was designed by a teacher as an educational tool, and the idea was to show how the system was flawed, that ultimately all of the properties end up in the hands of a few people and everyone else goes bankrupt. And, you know, she thought that, well, hey, this would teach people how to be more financially savvy. And I think all it did was probably lead to breakdowns in families when you have all these, I don't know, whenever we play Monopoly with other people, they have all these like their own family rules. I'm like, no. The rules are what come in the box, not some variation that you've made up. So I think this idea of using games as educational tools is not new, but the way that you've been able to like refresh the concepts, add some new stuff in, I think that's super, super great for people to be able to understand this stuff.
So maybe give us a little bit of the gameplay. Like, I mean, I know how to play Monopoly and I know how to play the game of life, and I have actually played this game as well, but can you kind of talk us through what the game would be like if someone was playing it?
Yeah, cool. Well, first thing you do is you choose your career. So there's 8 different careers to choose from. And we've chosen a real variety. So you could be a plumber, obviously exposure to the apprenticeship, or else there's the recycling entrepreneur or a social media influencer, teacher, IT professional. So there's 8 different careers to give people different ideas about what happens if I start earning money straight from school, or what happens if I get a pilot and I don't earn money for a long time because of flying hours, costs, things like that. So once you've chosen your career, then the game starts when you're 18 years of age and you're leaving school, and you have so many opportunities available to you. Are you going to buy some stocks? Are you going to get a side hustle, have a baby, plant some trees?
It's funny, just the other day I was thinking to myself, should we have another baby or plant a tree?
Plant a tree. My advice.
And then in the game as well, we've also got other opportunities to earn extra points. So there's challenges to help with gameplay. You might want to get a diversified portfolio. Maybe you've got a bucket list. Maybe you want a starring role in a movie. Maybe you want to upgrade and actually own a shopping mall or an office block. So it's a points-based game, and at the end, the most points wins, and that's really fun. It keeps people engaged right to the end. So it's only 12 rounds long, but right to the end, because often you don't actually know who the winner is, and it can be quite surprising.
Yeah. And each round is a certain number of years of your life, is that right?
Yeah, 2 years. The game kind of covers about 24 years from 18 years of age.
Can you do things in the game? Like, one of my favourite games when I was growing up was a game called Aggravation. And what was great about Aggravation was a little bit like Lido, is that you could actually knock someone out of the game. So do you have anything in HACKT where you can, like if I was playing with Ish, I could deliberately derail his career in order to further my own? Or does the game require you to have just a sort of a stronger values base than that?
No, you can go nuts if you like. There is certain limitations, like there's only 5 stocks to buy or 5 business loans kind of thing. So you can be super greedy there, and that's going to make life incredibly difficult for him.
Right, gotcha. I can cause him to have less points, but that might,
Yes, absolutely. It's very strategic.
Just making notes.
And it works on that fact of there's free market principles and understanding there's interventions that come. So we have these life happens cards as well. So every round you turn over a life happens card, and there might be a storm, or there might be a pandemic, or there could be, something that happens. So within this free market of you can go and collect whatever you like, there's interventions, but it also helps teach people that, well, life just isn't fair sometimes. Sometimes you're on this track and you're going, right, this is what I'm going after. And then someone else might be going after the same thing. They get in first and they buy it. And then you've got to tack. You've got to change, and that's what life is like as well, right? Now what do? My strategy's been blown up. I need a new strategy, and I'm 7 rounds into my 12 rounds. Help,
It sounds a little bit like the dating game as well. It's like the person you thought you were going to marry said no, and so back to the drawing board. all that money you wasted paying for their dinner, like that was not a good investment. That was money wasted. Go Dutch, everybody. Always go Dutch.
Oh, it's gold.
I like the fact that in the game you have also created some, security or ways that you might protect your investments, right, or your businesses. So you can get some insurance, or you can look at making strategic choices around what you do with those investments, which is way different to something that's like, pretty linear like Monopoly.
Yeah, that's right, Ish. We've got insurance. You can go to the bank and get insurance, and we've deliberately kept the insurance reasonably cheap in the game. So for $2,000, you can pick up insurance, and that'll cover you for the whole game for all sorts of events that might happen. And really what we're trying to get across there is that insurance is important, and it's a good risk mitigation, that you should have for life.
Sounds like you might have dadded some of the rules.
Dadded some of the rules. Maybe just put some reality on some of the rules.
Yeah, I love it. Let's see if we can get our kids some messages in other ways. And that's what the power is, right? Because I know when you're parenting, you can say to your kids, have you got insurance on that car? And they don't want to listen to you. They don't need insurance because I don't know if you know, but most teenagers who've been driving for 5 minutes are excellent drivers who aren't going to crash. And they tell you that. And so, the fact that they might get another perspective from playing a game, that's very cool. I like that.
One of the exciting things about HACKT is the conversations that it leads to in families, because what family sits down and talks about stocks and dividends and tax and things like that, boring stuff. But because it's in an exciting game, then the kids do have a lot of questions for the parents, and that's a great opportunity for the parents to do the teaching.
And stuff does just happen, right? On the first day that my daughter took the car to work with her restricted, the number plates got stolen. Those were put onto another car. They went and filled their car up with gas, and she got a bill for that. And then 2 days later, there was a big ding in the back of the car. So things just happen when you think that it's going to be fine and nothing is going to actually derail. It's amazing what suddenly comes up and, just bites you on the butt.
Yep.
Hey, so where did the idea come from for the game initially? Because I guess there's a number of different ways that you could have chosen to tackle the financial literacy piece or educate children. But where did that original concept for the game come from?
I think it's just really, just watching our kids and seeing how hungry they were to learn, and just wanting to really let the younger generation know of all the opportunities that do exist out there for them. Your
inspiration, though, it's you, right? You just want to help others, which has been awesome. That's really the driver behind
it. Get around!
Debs has always wanted to set up a business and have a business, but the intent is just to help others. And that's why she's started this up. And we looked at, if we want to help others in the financial space, where could we sit in the market where there's not already a whole bunch of things going on and a whole bunch of good stuff. There's plenty of good videos, plenty of good books, plenty of great podcasts like your own. And we saw, no one's really doing a board game, and that's tactile. You can sit around with your family, you can talk about it, get some really great conversation going and get some really great learning happening. So I think that's why the board game became the format, based on the inspiration that Deb's had of I want to help others.
And I'm interested to know the journey that you've been on from that kind of ideation stage through to you've had this idea. How do you develop it? How do you get it to market? Like, what's that process been like for you? I mean, imagine it's just been smooth, no headaches, no barriers, just rock solid success the whole way, right?
Yeah, it took about 8 days from concept to manufacturing. Yeah, it was awesome. Look, I took a photo of it. We literally started with this blank piece of paper and a box of coloured pencils. And I've got this photo on the table and sitting there going, all right, here we go. How does this start? But we did the whole design-led thinking type scenario with, what's your why, what's your how, who you're trying to reach and so on. And just started drawing this thing out and then going through multiple prototypes, so many different prototypes. Like Ish said early on, it was just a piece of paper that we were just pushing markers around and saying, does this work? Does that work? And so on. We had an illustrator involved, which was really great because he was able to make some of it come to life for us. And we got that, reasonably early on. And once we got the mechanics to a place where you're going, okay, this is sort of playable and it's working, then it was the refinement of that and going, are there specific ways that you can win all the time? If someone does X, Y, Z, they'll always win, and making sure that those things weren't in the game so that, there was just enough luck to handle the strategy that we want, if you like, right? So you don't want it to be fully luck, the roll of the dice, because that doesn't help anyone. So the strategy's got to take precedence, but there's got to be a little bit of luck for those things in life that just happen. So once we got all that mechanics sorted, then it was on to, how do we manufacture this? How do we prototype it and so on? And we were doing all this through COVID, of course. So, we were trying to contact manufacturers in China and work out, who can actually print this thing. And we interviewed 2 or 3 companies. And we found this really great guy who is an Israeli-American chap who lives in China, who runs a board game manufacturing business. And he was just brilliant. His company's called Hero Time. And Hirsch was just awesome, stepping us through the process. We did a couple of prototypes with him and eventually signed up to do 3,000 copies in his factory. And he spat it all out, but we'd never even seen the final product, right? We'd never actually seen. We got a prototype, but there were still components we hadn't quite seen. And so we were trusting a lot in him, and then it was pull the trigger, let it rip. And so we got 3,000 copies printed. And the day that it turned up, man, that was a harrowing day, D-Day, but it looked great and it feels great, and it's really well put together. So, maybe there was some fortune there that we got a great manufacturing company. But then there was all the, how do we get this thing shipped and how do we sell it? And so there's all that part of it. But what I would say is I think designing anything like building a house, there's 1,000 decisions to make. One of the decisions was, what name are we going to give this game? And we had lists and lists of names and, people's opinions, and, we couldn't settle on anything. And I think it was a certain Ish Cheyne that was sitting there one day on the couch with us, and we're throwing names around, and we had life hacks and we had life tactics, and there was a whole bunch of things, and I think Ish sort of went, how about HACKT? Maybe that'll work, and it stuck. So there you go, mate. You can take that one as you named the game.
Excellent. I may not have gone to Harvard, Sash, but I did name the game.
Well, as your unofficial and not official lawyer, what kind of contract did we negotiate for your slice of the action once this thing? Yeah. Although I suspect what Craig and Debbie will say is, well, if you want a slice of the profit, how about you tip in your slice of the costs as well?
I suspect you're right.
Maybe just be the honorary namer. That's amazing. And so when you look at the market for it, what are your distribution channels? How are you getting this game to market?
I guess it's just a bit of trial and error at this moment. It's a really high quality product, so it is expensive to manufacture. So it is hard to go through the normal distribution and retail because there's just not the margin in it. So at the moment, Mighty Ape and soon to be on Amazon in Australia. Otherwise, people can purchase through our website. But that is a work in progress, trying to work out how we're going to get a really high quality game, because the market is, for the people who do play Monopoly and Game of Life. So those kind of people are used to quite a low price point, but it is quite a low quality product. So with this game, it's just about communicating the value that HACKT can bring and how it can help the younger generation, etc., and how it has such a high quality product as well. So yes, definitely learning a lot.
Well, I think your strategy of going on New Zealand's, easy, not the most listened to, but the best business podcast, I think that is clearly the way to get the word out there, because I think just out of loyalty, my mum will buy one and Ish's mum will buy one. So that's 2. That's awesome.
We'll put the price up to like $1,000 a game, just for when your mums get online, and then we'll reduce it again. That should cover a few costs. Thanks, Brendan.
Yeah, smart, super smart.
I like the fact that even though it's, we refer to Monopoly and Game of Life, that kind of genre of board game, it is a tactical game as well. Like, I was thinking about it the other day, we play a lot of Settlers of Catan. Like, it feels more in that kind of realm of game. So even though it might be a little bit more of an investment, and we're still talking really about an investment as a low ticket item, really, it is something that can be played over and over again and in multiple different ways and it have completely different outcomes, which I think is a really nice format. So one of the things that you both have done very well is set yourselves up like an existing business with entrepreneurial side hustle and everything else that you're doing. How have you used that to maybe fund this as another side hustle that you're really adding to that portfolio of the things that you do? Because really, if this fell over, you would be okay. Like, if the game doesn't sell, you guys are going to be okay, right? So that's quite different to the person that's all in, has mortgaged the house, and there's literally everything's on the line. Maybe talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, and look, you're right, Ish. We've got enough board games that if it all falls over, we can actually literally build a house out of those board games and live in it. So I think we'll be fine. Yeah. Look, we invested in property 20 odd years ago, and I've also got my IT company as well. So we've got two companies that we're running. And the intention was to set up this business and not have to find funding from somewhere else. If we could fund it ourselves without betting the ranch, without mortgaging the house and so on and so forth. And we had some money aside for that, to say, this is the money aside to build this business up. So you're right. If it doesn't go anywhere, well, that's fine. We're not all going to fall over. We're not going to lose everything. And so I think that's just in general a good risk mitigation, if you're fortunate enough to do that. And it's not too much different to what you see in the game for people starting out. If you don't have enough money to buy into a business or buy a house or something, well, then you get another job, a side hustle, a second job, to perhaps put some money aside to save to do what you want to do. And that's the thing that we wanted to do here. So having those couple of businesses has enabled us to build this board game with low risk.
So is there anything that you would do differently, in the approach to the game, from going from that concept to production?
I think that I would back ourselves more and upskill. I kind of tend to want to just go with the professionals and get their help because they're the experts. But we have done that a couple of times and been really disappointed with the results. So I think I would have probably spent more time upskilling myself. That's what I would do in hindsight.
All that money you spent on that agency to come up with a name, and in the end, Ish just gave it to you for free.
Yeah,
I know, right? I know. We gave them a good weekend away at our holiday home, so there was due payment. Yeah. Trust me.
It was.
Yeah.
There we go.
That is a good point, though. I think sometimes we may engage professionals too early, and as a result, we end up spending quite a bit up front, rather than what we talked about last week, which is building a triple skill set, which is really enabling someone to come from concept to iteration and creation right through to then developing and communicating exactly what that would be. And I think that's what I noticed you do really well at the beginning. Like, we were playing with the bits of paper, the concept was there. By the time you were probably engaging some of the professionals, at least you knew what you were doing. But even then, hearing that I might have done it a little bit different, or I would have actually spent a bit more time investigating that myself. I think there's really good value in that, because sometimes we just do need to back ourselves. And I think we do have more answers than we sometimes give ourselves credit for.
We're fortunate to be in a time where there's just so plethora of resources out there as well that we can take advantage of.
And you're right, Debs, the internet's great for that sort of stuff. But I think it's a balance as well, Ish, right? Because if you decide to take on everything yourself, say you're a property investor and you're going to do your own accounts and all your own property maintenance and all your own legal skills and all this sort of stuff, there's nothing better than having a great team around you. But equally, what I find, and even in IT as well, I find as long as you've got enough understanding to ask the right questions, then you get the right answers back. So you can upskill yourself to a point, and there's some things that you can upskill yourself to a point of going, well, actually, I can do it myself. but other things going. As long as I can get to a point where I can ask the right questions, then we'll make sure that we keep them honest and we get the right result.
Cool. So where do our listeners get this game? Like, I can just imagine people are going, where is it? Where's the website? Well, for our mums, that they know how to get it for us for Christmas.
And your mum's friends,
Yeah.
and Sasha's tennis partner, all of those people. Well, firstly, I assume there'll be an awesome link at the bottom of this podcast that they'll be able to click on, so that'll be a good start. But literally at the moment, either go to Mighty Ape or go to HACKTXboardgame.com, and you can buy it direct from us. The price is the same on both of those outlets, so it doesn't really matter, but HACKTXboardgame.com.
I think it's a great Christmas present too, because you should never give gifts that suggest the need for self-improvement. And so this is a really nice way. If you've got friends that are like battling to kind of make ends meet, and it's not because they haven't got good jobs, it's just because they can't kind of get it together, rather than giving them a book that's really pointed, give them a game that like the enlightenment will come as they're playing the game. I think it's a really nice way to introduce some of these ideas to people.
Yeah, cool. I mean, we did design the game with young people in mind, but the overwhelming feedback has been that it really appeals to people of all ages. So it's great.
I love that advice that Mary Holm was always giving in the paper, the financial advisor. It's never too late. It's never too late. It's never too late to take some action or to make a new decision, or today is a great day to start doing something differently, whether that's in your fitness, your finances, your family, your friendships, all those F words. Even people who are getting on a bit can be like, not regret what they've done wrong so far, but actually say, well, I can learn, and actually I can make some new decisions. How do I get out of the hole that I'm in? So, a game is a great way to explore some of those ideas. And I've been on the website. There's lots of great information that you guys have got available on the website, just around different concepts that help people understand how to play the game, but also how to, be successful in their lives. It's a great resource online.
So I feel like it would be a miss not to end with a little bit around what you guys watch on Netflix. Because what does the HACKT team watch on Netflix? I'm always interested in good shows to follow. What are you watching at the moment? What are you binging?
Well, I just cancelled Netflix, actually, because it's so flaming expensive.
I love it. We're not sponsored by Netflix.
Yeah, no, that's good. That's good. I just loaded up Amazon Prime because that was half the price, which is great. So I've been exploring all the great shows on Amazon Prime. So for me, it's been Jack Reacher and Jack Ryan, all the Jacks. I like that sort of genre. Yep.
Brilliant. What about you, Debbie?
I enjoy recharging with my introvert time, so I must say I don't have a lot of screen time.
But if she does, it'll be watching some renovation show or purchasing nice houses on a beach in Malibu or something.
Something like that.
Oh, fantastic. All right, well, it's been great having you two on. And can I just say, I know you well, and you are friends of mine. And I know you don't just talk about this stuff, you live it. You are generous with your time, your finances, and just the way that you approach life. And I've seen a lot of the stuff that you've developed even through the Life Care Trust, Debbie, and it does impact people on a massive level. So I know this game has got big future. I know it's been developed with positive intent in mind. It is a positive experience. It is great, and it's highly recommended from me.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks very much, mate. Appreciate that.
And I just have so much admiration for anybody that has an idea and actually takes it through that process and gets it to market, because so many people have ideas. Whoa. And there will be people listening to the show, maybe my dad, who says, I had an idea for a board game once where you'd learn about money. And I'm like, so what? If you had an idea and you did nothing with it, no one cares about the fact that you had an idea, because history is only made by people who implement their ideas. And we see so much praise goes to people who have great ideas. I don't care about ideas. I care about who is able to bring something into the world, give birth to it, nurture it, grow it, develop it. And I think it's really inspirational. We talk a lot in the Not So Breakfast Show about how to build things in your career, how to build things outside of your main job. And you guys are just the living, walking, talking embodiment of that. And I love that you're doing it in the service of not just, oh, how can we make some money, but actually saying, what does the world need? What could we put into the world that would help people? What do we know and how do we share that? And I think it's such a creative way of doing it. So yay you guys, yay HACKT. Everybody get on HACKTXboardgames.com. That's where you can make an investment in your future, either for your teenage kids, for someone you know, for your grandma. It's never too late.
Awesome. It's been fun. Thanks, guys.
Awesome. Thank you, Sacha. That's brilliant. Appreciate it.
Put good things out into the world, but not new babies.
Trees, Ish, trees.
Trees, just trees. Okay.